impose, they can, they can compel somebody to act by their moral dictates. It is for the person. At the end of the day, somehow, we should see the end of this matter.
Sadly, we have not seen, this habit of resignation from the executive. We haven't seen it from legislators. But some people believe that we should expect it of the judiciary because that is the temple of justice. And we believe that justice, sadly, I mean, some people say that the judiciary is supposed to be in the society. If the entire society is corrupt, is it the judiciary that will be, kept unstained? But interestingly, we still expect higher standards from the judiciary.
You know, Mark, the fact...
You don't?
Well, we do. We all expect very high standards. The reason why we lawyers go to court and say, my lord, is because we believe that after God, this man who is sitting there, or this woman who is sitting there, is above, But the fact is that it is not just a question of being accused and therefore resigning. Sometimes, if you resign, you may just simply leave the matter unresolved, and people will form conclusions which may not necessarily be warranted. So, for example, I give the example, in the CJN's Code of Conduct form, his response to the Code of Conduct investigators, he stated the fact that when he realized his mistake, he filed 2 Code of Conduct asset declaration forms, one for the earlier date, which he ought to have filed, and the second one. Imagine, every Code of Conduct form is sworn to before a judge of the High Court. He is the Chief Justice of Nigeria. It could have been possible for him to get somebody to sign, another judge to sign and say, and backdate. But he didn't do that. If he had done that, and now there are allegations that he backdated, of course, that will be accusation of moral turpitude. But that is the sort of thing that this approach may engender. People who now feel, oh, it is a strict liability offense. If you did not do it on the date you were supposed to do it, that is sufficient for you to be removed from office. And then you see people going back. So you might even put pressure on the judiciary to do the wrong thing. You might find people coming before judges, pleading with them to say, please, I made a mistake a few days or a few months, out of the time. I want you to sign that I filed it at the right time. So it is not always a black and white situation. That's why the NBA is saying, let this process go through. Do the right thing. At the end of the day, the truth will come out. A lot of people are asking questions. These declarations were filed since 2016. Why is it coming now? Why is it being investigated in 2019, less than 30 days to elections?
And these are definitely very important questions, and they are questions that we should pose to the executive. But when you look at the query now that has been issued by the NJC. I wasn't sure whether to call it a query. Yes. They should respond to the petitions that have been filed. The acting Chief Justice also has a petition against him, saying that he participated. What do you think he ought to have done? He participated in removing a judge in Abia State, a chief judge in Abia State for, taking up a position when he ought not to have. What do you think that the acting Chief Justice ought to have done when it seemed as if there was going to be a vacuum? After the Chief Justice was suspended?
Well, I really have some pity for Honorable Justice Tanko Mohammed in this situation because he was put in a very difficult position. He knew that the NJC has consistently, since 1999, made it clear that you cannot remove a judge or the Chief Judge or Justice of the Federation or a state without following due process, which involves taking the matter to the NJC. And that every single instance where a judge has stepped in, apparently to fill the vacuum, the hammer has fallen on him. So, in the circumstances, I believe that it would have been best for him, for his career, and for everything else, to have informed the executive that I'm very sorry, there is a small snag here. Without the concurrence of the NJC, I cannot do this.
Mm. How do you think that the NJC could, assuming there were no petitions against the Chief Justice and the acting Chief Judge, the acting Chief Justice, do you think they could have performed their duties based on what they have heard so far and the actions of the President? Could they still have swooped in to do anything about what has been going on?
Well, I think normally the normal process is that there should be somebody accusing, somebody alleging. The NJC cannot just take up an allegation and say, well, we read over the newspapers or saw on television that allegations have been made against you. Therefore, you should come and explain yourself, because somebody has to put facts before them. Somebody has to assemble the facts. You know, sometimes what is reported in media may be slanted, may be distorted by a whole lot of prisms. But the fact is, if the petition had gone to the NJC would have been able to investigate, because they will have somebody to ask further questions. Oh, you said this, the man denied this, so we need you to provide information on that, and so on and so forth. So I think that the process is fairly robust enough. I know that there are instances where, you know, the NJC may not have acted swiftly enough, may not have acted as robustly enough. But where there are obvious cases, it has always acted.
From what we're saying now, I mean, we don't know whether to go with these permutations. You already see, it looks like as if both judges or both chief justices might not be. There can never be two chief justices. When we have one chief justice and have an acting chief justice, it almost looks like as if we have two of them. It looks like they might not be coming back. It looks like I don't know what to make of it. But
that's speculative. I don't know what the NJC...
Speculative,
yes,
right?
I don't know what the NJC would recommend.
It could hold water. I mean, they're coming back February 11 from what we gather.
Yes.
Do you think it could hold water? I mean, that they both might not be coming back, and what we might be seeing on the papers could be true.
Well, we have had a lot of senior lawyers. We have also heard that some other persons have come out to say, oh, the best way is to do the balancing solution, asks both of them to go. I don't know what's going to happen. Like I said before, it is left for the CJN, if he's restored to his position, to decide what to do, whether I've put up a good fight, I need to go, I need to rest my head, and I think that's left to him. For the case of the acting CJN, of course, we know that there is a whole weight of precedent, all the way from Elelu Habib, who was removed in in 1999, all the way down to just last year, that anybody who steps in to fill those shoes, you know, has the hammer falling on him. So that's why I said it's very unfortunate that he had to find himself in that sort of situation. But whether a balancing act is the best thing, I wouldn't want to speculate. I don't know. I think there are more senior lawyers, more experienced judges. There are, you know, a whole lot of people who are in a better position to sit down and say, okay, these, and that are the factors that should, you know, influence a decision of this nature. Yeah,
but you're a minister in the Temple of Justice. You definitely will have expectations.
Well, my expectation is that if the allegations against the CJN are eventually cleared, then it is not necessary to sacrifice him. Because we saw in the case of Pakistan, where something similar to this happened in Pakistan, where Mujarraf tried to remove Justice Iftikhar, and he was resisted. Eventually, Iftikhar came back, you know, served for a couple of years before, you know, he retired. In that case, it was the same allegations of corruption.
Your basis, your permutation is based on if. You say if the Chief Justice is able to clear himself.
Exactly.
What if he's not able to?
Definitely, if he's not able to clear himself, he should go. There's no question about that.
Well, it's definitely a fine place to leave it. We'll see how things proceed in the coming days. We've seen that the NJC has swooped into action. We're also seeing court cases going on. We do not know if there will be any action from the executive handle, but we'll see how it goes. We have to thank you very much for coming on the program, Mr. Emmanuel Chakpa. He's a legal practitioner, and he's been speaking to us in our Abuja studios. That's where we'll wrap up this part of the conversation. I hand over back now to Chimbley.
Well, yes, indeed, Margaret. So we'll just go to break in just a moment, and then we'll be back and take a look at what next. Don't go away.